Hi, I'm Jeff from ACC Tours, and since 1986, we've been connecting people to Israel and the Jewish world. We are the official travel partner for Hadassah National Missions to Israel. We run tours all over the world, scholar-led tours through our traveling university program featuring scholars such as Professor Stephen Burke, Professor Natan Meir, Professor Yael Strom. We run our Jewish singles tours all over the world for Jewish singles in their 40s, 50s, and 60s through our Best Day Adventures division. By the way, they just got back from Cancun just a few days ago. A lovely New Year's Eve trip for them. And of course, we partner with amazing organizations such as the American Conference of Cantors, which is what we're all going to be talking about today. I think if you've made it to this program, the webinar that we're doing right now, hopefully you have some idea of what we are talking about this trip. This is going to be a journey of connection and music to Poland and Prague, partnering with the American Conference of Cantors. We're very excited about this trip. We're very excited for travel to return. And yes, it is winter. And yes, if you read the news or your news feed or whatever it is hard to remember that the world is not only functioning, but moving in the right direction towards travel functioning again. After winter comes spring. We all know that sometimes with snow on the ground, it can be a little hard to remember that the flowers will bloom again, but they will. And we are prepared for it. So thank you for being here today and joining us and finding out more about this incredible trip. So we do have a nice little presentation we'll go through for you, and we'll talk about the trip. We'll answer as many questions as we can, of course, as we go through. If you'd like to put questions in the chat or in the Q&A, whichever one of us is not speaking, we'll hopefully moderate that, and we can answer as many questions as possible. The other guy that you're looking at on the screen, just so you know, is Mr. Doron Epstein, who is, of course, with us with ACC Tours and is coming to us live from I love saying it. Ready? It's Hradec Králové. Relatively good?
You're getting better. At best.
Yeah. Well, at least I'm not getting worse. Which is just outside of Prague in the Czech Republic. Doron, of course, meets all of our groups when they come into Europe, and you'll see him this summer should you choose to join this trip. Doron's also a licensed Israeli tour guide. A heck of a tour planner, a great person to put itineraries together, and we'll be working closely with me and with the American Conference of Cantors to plan this journey. So, of course, we're a little far away from Passover, but the question with Passover is, or the version of the Passover question for this is, why is this tour different than all other tours? You could technically get on a plane, you could go to Prague, you could go to Poland and go and see it for yourself. But what would you miss? What would be different if you choose to travel with a trip like this? Well, we're going to answer that question today. We're going to go through some of the amazing things, but in very short summary, when you leave today, what you'll take away from you is that this is a unique opportunity. This is something where you're not only going to see the sites that are listed in the program, you're going to have an opportunity to interact with the people on the ground there today, the people that are taking the possibility of Jewish life in Europe and running with it. You're going to be inspired by their stories. You're going to encounter them on a personal level. And you're also going to have incredible opportunities to hear Jewish music through the talented cantors of the ACC. In short, this is going to be an amazing trip. We have done trips like this before, of course, with other organizations, with the ACC as well. We did a trip to Cuba, which was absolutely spectacular back in the pre-times back in 2019. And from that idea, the energy and the enthusiasm about doing trips like this and understanding what an impact a trip like this can have created the idea for this this Prague and Poland trip. So we're very excited to have you with us today. We're very excited to share with you information about the trip. We'll continue to post in the chat. We put the link in for the trip website, but we'll put that in there again so people people can have it if you didn't already have it. To start this off, I want to hopefully, it's always fun with the technical part, just share a very short video that'll give you a sense of the flavor of what we're trying to put together. You'll see some of the faces of the people that we're going to get to meet when we're together in Poland and Prague, and then we'll go through from there. So bear with me as I do the very fun part of trying to make the technical things work. So hopefully you can see, Doron, you can see my this blank screen right now?
Yes, indeed.
All right, here we go. All right.
For nearly 1,000 years, Central Europe was the Jewish heartland. This is a place of memory, of tragedy, and most recently, Jewish renewal. Join me as we explore together, sing together, and are inspired together by the stories that connect us all. Among them,
my name is Jonathan Ornstein. I'm the Executive Director of the Jewish Community Center of Krakow, an organization devoted to rebuilding Jewish life down the road from Auschwitz. We have a preschool, we take care of survivors, Shabbat dinners, we're serving an entire community from A to Z.
Hi, this is Agata Rakowiecka, the Director of the Jewish Community Center of Warsaw. JCC Warsaw is bringing people together with openness and dialogue in our modern, changing world.
Hello, I'm Hanna from Forum for Dialogue, Polish non-governmental organization devoted to education and leadership in Polish-Jewish relations.
You're invited to rediscover the joy and impact of travel.
Join me, we will connect and learn through amazing travel experiences and through the universal language of music.
You come here saying Kaddish and you leave saying Shechechianu. See you in Krakow.
Czekamy na Was. We're ready to welcome you in Warsaw.
we're ready to welcome you.
We are ready to sing with you in Europe.
All right, sign me up. I'm ready to go. All right, so with that little introduction, I hope you're all inspired to get a chance to see some of the faces of the people that we're going to meet over there. It's a great line. Jonathan Ornstein at the Krakow JCC says, "You come saying Kaddish and you leave saying Shechianu," and that's really it. Yes, we will deal with the Holocaust. Yes, we will talk about 1,000 years of Jewish history, but we're going to see the communities that are there today and the efforts being made to rebuild these Jewish communities in Poland and Prague, and that really is an inspirational thing, and it's something that will stay with you long after the time that we are together. So a couple questions already coming in. I see there are questions about whether the trip is open to children. Yes, the trip is open to children. This is traveling over the summer, so it is possible to bring kids. It's not the focus of the trip, but it is possible. And of course, we've had kids travel. There are certain things depending on the age of the kids that may not be age appropriate, particularly when we're dealing with the Holocaust. But we can help you out with that based on the age of your kids. We can consult with people individually. Okay, so let's see in terms of sharing screens once again. Let me try to get back to this. Don't need the sound now. So hopefully, Doron, give me a thumbs up if you can see the screen. Great. You're familiar somewhat with this image at this point. People know this is the Music and People of Poland and Prague featuring the American Conference of Cantors. So let's go through and talk a little bit about what it is we're going to be doing together. The dates of the trip. Hold on, I think I gotta skip ahead. There we go. The dates of the trip are June 26th through July 6th, 2022. So coming up the last week of June into the first week of July. Why these dates? Well, there's a few reasons. Number one is works well with people's calendars to be traveling in the summer. Number two, it's a great time of year in terms of weather to be traveling through Europe. Number three, there's some really cool things that are going on at the same time, and we're going to talk about those a little bit later on. Well, you can see one example of them right there. The Krakow JCC's Ride for the Living, of which we are an official partner for the last several years, does take place right around these same dates. And those that are interested in participating have the opportunity to do so during this trip. So if you like to ride a bike and you'd like to raise money for a great cause, this is an amazing opportunity to kind of piggyback onto this trip and participate in the Ride for the Living. You don't have to schlep your bike to Europe. All of these arrangements can be taken care of for you, and we'll be sending people out information that have signed up for the trip and are interested. So, as we talked about before, one of the main focuses of this trip are face-to-face experiences. So what does that mean? That means meeting with progressive leadership in Europe. That means meeting, I mentioned Jonathan Ornstein in Krakow. You saw some of the other faces. The rabbi in the upper right. Doron, do you want to talk about that picture and what's happening in Prague?
Yeah, of course. That's Rabbi David Macha. He's the first Czech-born rabbi back in Prague since the Holocaust. He's actually rebuilding a community out of nothing. He's building a community called Etz Chaim. It now has about 40 active participants. And literally, I think around a month ago, around Sukkot, they actually got back their Torah scroll. So a Torah scroll that was here in the Czech Republic was taken over to the US, was brought back to the Czech congregation for the first time after 80 years. Amazing connection, all because of Rabbi Macha. And here he's, of course, doing a bat mitzvah, but he does many of these. And of course, you'll meet him and you'll get to talk to him and see how he's building this community along the way.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And the next thing down, we actually heard from the representative in that video, but we're not only meeting with Jewish communities, we're also going to be doing some interfaith initiative, interfaith dialogue. The Forum for Dialogue is an amazing organization that's trying to raise awareness among Poland's non-Jewish population about the deep roots and connection to the Jewish community in Poland. We'll have a chance to meet with some of their leadership and hear about the projects that they're doing. Any other input on that, Doron, before I move along?
It's amazing how the local progressive communities are at the forefront of interfaith dialogue in the prospective countries. The JCC Warsaw, the JCC Krakow, the JCC Prague now that opened a couple months ago. Really the forefront of, first of all, combating anti-Semitism, which isn't that strong, mainly in the big cities. And secondly, in combating anti-Islam and all these things and working for interfaith living. So we'll meet them and we'll talk to them about it and see how it's working over here.
Beautiful. All right. We also mentioned at the beginning musical experiences. This would not be a trip with the ACC if we were not going to be filled with joyful song. Sing a joyful song as we are together. So not only do we have the voices of the ACC, and actually that picture, that bottom picture is from a concert that was put on at the Patronato Synagogue in Cuba on the ACC trip there a couple of years back. But not only that, we're going to be partnering with organizations in Europe to even further enhance the musical elements. For example, one of the things that's going on, one of the reasons that we're running this trip at the time we are, this is the time of the Krakow Jewish Culture Festival, which runs every year around this time of year, or except for the last couple of years, of course. And has become really one of the go-to events. It's incredible, absolutely incredible. And not only will we be there at the time this is going on, but our trip and the ACC has been invited to be a part of the festival. So Doron, I don't know if you want to talk about that at all.
So the amazing thing about the Krakow Jewish Festival is that most of the people who go to the Krakow Jewish Festival are not Jewish. And that's what amazes me every time, that people go to this place 60 miles from Auschwitz to see Jewish music and its local Polish people, along with a bunch of people from all around the world. And it's just unbelievable, you know, when you're there in Shiroka Street. I was there, I don't even know, time goes by quickly. 3 years ago, I think, after the ride for a living, all my muscles were sore, of course. And I was saying that, and I was thinking, wow, what power there is to this unbelievable experience of the Jewish festival in this place, where actually Schindler's List was filmed in that same square. And amazing performance. And that's actually the one that the ACC will also be performing in, the same show. So we're looking forward to it.
Absolutely. So one of the things that's listed here, and it goes along with a question that I just saw in the chat as we were going through, it says dedicated time for small personal reflection with your community. So somebody asked before we even started the formal presentation, you know, is there a limit on the size of this group? And the answer is, we've done this many times. It is possible to both run a multi-bus group, which this will be multi-buses, and also maintain that sense of close community. And we do that a few different ways. Number one is you don't travel, the groups, the various buses don't travel in lockstep. So logistically, throughout a given day, different buses will visit different sites at different times. The only people that you're with all of the time for your touring day are the people that are on that bus with you. The groups come together for major events, for concerts, for prayer, for scholarly presentations, but otherwise we're working logistically so that people have a bit more of an individual flow within their groups. And that also involves carving out time and space within that group for icebreakers, for a chance to meet the other people that are within your kind of micro group or subgroup on your bus. So all of this is taken into account as we plan the program and put it together. Okay. Artistic and culinary experiences. In addition to the concerts, in addition to the scholarly presentations, in addition to the interactions with local communities, we're also going, of course, to no trip to Europe would be complete without getting to taste the culture, taste the cuisine of the locals. So we're going to have opportunities to taste pierogi, which my wife would love that I've rolled my R with pierogi, and some other. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the other one you threw in there.
Zapikanka. It's the best thing in the world. You have to try it. It's my favorite meal in Krakow. Anyone who will be there can come with me. I'll show you my stall.
Beautiful.
Amazing.
Yeah, and so in addition to those culinary delights, you also have more interactive or more less traditional, I would say, ways to experience touring. So what we've coordinated with Mipolin, which is a group. Doron, you want to talk about this, about the Via Mezuzah trip?
Yeah, so Mipolin is a group of artists that searches into the history of Judaism through the mezuzot in the older district of Warsaw, which is the Praga district, no relations to Prague. So you actually go to the Praga district, you see the, can only think of the word in Hebrew, the outside of the door.
The door frame?
Door frame, thank you. You go, you see the door frame, you see the leftover part of the mezuzah, you hear the history through it. It's actually a very different way to hear this story, and very impactful. So very interesting.
And of course, we get to drink some beer because you can't go to the Czech Republic and not have beer.
Pilsner, Kozel, I can get you through all of them. Don't worry.
Absolutely. So in addition to all of this, we'll hear from outstanding scholars. Professor Stephen Burke, that many of you may be familiar with, will be in Europe at the same time. And at a couple of points during our trip, Professor Burke will be joining to give some historical context. I mentioned a little earlier in the presentation, as we do with all of our trips to Eastern Europe, these are not meant to be Holocaust trips. What we're doing, of course, we are addressing the Holocaust, we're talking about it, but we're also looking at the thousands 1,000 years of Jewish history, which were centered here in Europe before the Holocaust happened. There was an incredible rich history, and you're going to get to see and experience that. You have some of the beautiful pictures on this page. On the left-hand side, that's the town hall clock in Prague, right next to the Altno Shul. In the center is Warsaw, the recreated roof of the wooden synagogue in the Poland Museum. And on the right, I think last time I said it, I thought that was the Dohani in Budapest, but it's not. What is
that's
that
a
one?
Jerusalem synagogue, the most beautiful synagogue in Europe, if you ask me, in the world. And we will see it, and everyone will understand why I fell in love with that synagogue.
It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. So that's in Prague. That's in Prague.
Yes, that's in Prague. That's definitely in Prague. Very close to our hotel as well.
Beautiful. Okay. And this, in terms of the trip itself, of course, our primary partnership here is the American Conference of Cantors, and we're going to hear from one of the trip co-chairs shortly to talk a little bit about the musical vision for the trip. But you should know we've been in very close contact, as you can tell, the fact that the trip will have an opportunity to be part of the Jewish Culture Festival. We've been working very closely with the leading Jewish organizations in Europe to plan this trip, and we'll continue to do so as we move towards execution. So the JCC in Krakow, JCC in Warsaw, the Forum for Dialogue, Eitz Chaim in Prague, these are all organizations that are partnering closely with us to create this incredible experience. Okay. Yeah, you all want to know about what's happening with COVID-19. Okay, so here we are. Of course, nobody knows exactly what the world looks like in summer of 2022, but frankly, with Omicron, which should be peaking within the next couple of weeks, and what the latest and greatest predictions are, we do have some medical advisors that we are in regular contact with that give us kind of a sense of what's coming. The prediction at this point is that by summer 2022, if not much sooner, things are you can't say normal, I guess the new normal, which will allow this trip to proceed and take place the way that we have planned it. The biggest I guess adjustments to what it would have been if this was in 2018 or 2019. Whatever protocols are in place, of course, we're going to follow. If it's still a protocol that people need to wear masks in an enclosed space, we are going to follow that. Yes, we are requiring vaccination for people on the trip. So if that is a question for people, you've got that answer right there. The testing that is listed here, of course, this is what's happening right now. What it is when we get to June of 2022, we will, of course, be in touch with you and give you that information so you have it in advance of travel. But Doron, listen, Doron lives there and can give us a sense of what it's like even right now as things are heightened, let's say. What do you see when you go into Prague? Are you seeing people traveling? Are you seeing that life is going on? Would love to hear what you see on the ground there now.
You know, I've in the past couple of weeks, I've been in 2 European cities. So one in Prague and the second one is Barcelona. And of course, I did all the testing I needed. And the amazing thing is there's a lot of Americans over here. It's quite surprising, a lot of American groups. And I've spoken to a couple of them to see how they got here and so on and so forth. And they all said that it was very simple. Okay, they did the testing according to what was needed. And they feel very safe here because there isn't that extra added politics behind it. So people do what is regulated by the government. And I can tell you as a person living here in the Czech Republic, it's very much so. You know, you need to wear a mask inside. Everyone wears a mask inside. If you need to get vaccinated, you go and get vaccinated. Today, I got my booster a couple hours ago. They're regulated, and it's very nice because there's a little noise around it. And the people that I talked to as well said the same thing. They like just doing what you're supposed to and going on along with the lines. So it's quite nice over here. I recommend it, even if you're coming now. So come.
What a concept! Everybody's following the rules. That's something to strive for. All right, I mentioned this in the pre-session. One person said, well, what about cancellation? So as it says on the screen, essentially at this point, cancellation is risk-free. We modified our terms there. If you really want to read closely, it's there. Otherwise, it's on our website and you can read on your own. But we modified our terms for 2022 in order that people could register for trips like this and feel comfortable in doing so. You can register now. It's a $500 per person deposit, and that is fully refundable pretty much until 90 days prior to departure. As it says there, the reason I say pretty much is if you choose to pay by credit card, we charge a nominal $25 to refund it because we do not get that credit card processing fee back. Otherwise, if you pay by check, it is fully refundable, and that goes all the way until 90 days before. Obviously, by 90 days out, we will have a good sense of the viability of travel in the summer. We have every expectation that it will be highly viable, and we'll move forward with the terms as they're listed here. We do offer an excellent group travel insurance program through TravelX that can offer you that extra level of comfort and security that you know that if something comes up in your personal life that would be a covered reason to cancel, that you've got insurance in place. So all of that and more is available on our website. And of course, we make it very easy to sign up for the travel insurance. It's literally part of the online registration process. You just click a box and it gets added to your reservation. In addition, if, let's say, worst case scenario, as is listed there, we have to cancel this trip very last minute because of COVID, specifically because of COVID, at least for the land portion of your tour, you are refunded minus, I think it's a very small nominal amount, minus $150 per person. Airfare is whatever the terms are for the airlines. Travel insurance, it's whatever the terms are for the travel insurance company. But we are trying to minimize your risk as much as possible so that people can feel comfortable making plans and moving forward, and we can together make this trip as successful as possible. Happy to answer more questions about that when we get to the Q&A coming up here in just a minute. So, all right, so we've reached the end of the formal presentation here. I'm gonna stop my little share here and see if I can do this before we get to the Q&A. I just want to see if I can bring Cantor Tracy Scher. This is the fun part.
And Cantor Rosen.
Yes, out of being participants. Let's see, and show them to the world. Hold on, let's see. More promote to panelist. Ooh, there's a lot of power with this thing. So okay, so I tried to promote Tracy and then David. Let's see if I can show David. Hey, there she is.
Hey,
very special.
Yes. And then
you
hold
feel
on
promoted?
a second.
Yes, promoted.
All right, so I'm working on David as well. To talk to, obviously we can talk a lot about the logistics. We can talk about the program as we have and the vision for the program, but to talk about the musical vision, what we're going to incorporate into this musically, I invite Cantor Scher and Cantor Rosen, who are now on your screens, to talk with us a little bit about that.
Hello, everyone. So excited for this trip. And as Jeff said earlier, what makes this trip unique is the musical piece of it. And this is not just when we talk about music and concerts and services that we're going to be doing. It's not just by the Cantors, for an audience sitting and watching. It's really for everyone. It's going to be multi-dimensional. It's going to be multi-denominational. If you are coming on this trip and you like to sing, maybe you're in your Cantors choir, or you haven't yet joined your Cantors choir, but you like to sing, you will have an opportunity to be a part of these concerts. If you don't like to sing, or you just keep that in the shower, still, while you're sitting in the audience, we're going to make sure that we have a piece or two at the concerts for everybody, so that we can all, because there's nothing more glorious than hearing hundreds of voices coming together. So we will be doing concerts in Warsaw, in Krakow, and in Prague. And those concerts will be a mix of music of each city. So you'll be able to hear music unique to the place that we're going to be at. It will include some of the great sort of cantorial choral hits and maybe some of the music that if you've been a choir member, that you've done with your own congregations. Some of the music may happen. There may be some crossover between the concerts that we do, but a lot will be new. You'll be able to hear your cantor highlighted during this time. So it's really a great opportunity, again, to be part of a wonderful musical experience.
And I wanted to say a word about, Jeff, you alluded to before the idea of having opportunities to be, I think there was a question regarding being with your own individual communities and congregations. So as part of the trip, of course, visiting concentration camps, I believe we're going to the Warsaw Ghetto, Auschwitz, and Theresienstadt. And within each of those visits, there will be opportunities for, group services, some type of memorial in each of those places, but also opportunities for small group commemoration in some capacity. And speaking of the music, if we're doing musical things within each of those concentration camps, there's incredible music that has come out of these ghettos and in these concentration camps that has been passed along throughout the generations, and some of that music will get featured at the individual. There's nothing more powerful than singing a piece of music that came out of that concentration camp. So that will definitely happen. Just a personal plug, because I had the opportunity to visit Poland a few years ago. I officiated at a congregant's bar mitzvah at the temple in Krakow, and which was a Reformed synagogue, and still, I don't know if it still functions as a synagogue, but it's more for tourists. But it was such an incredible experience, and to walk in that Krakow square and to hear music, klezmer music being played, in full volume. And to look into your history. I had the opportunity to visit the different towns that my grandparents grew up and make those connections that have been on my mind for many years. Just really an incredible opportunity. So I hope you will join us on this really epic journey.
Epic is a good word for it. Absolutely. So thank you, Cantor Rosen. Thank you, Cantor Schur. You're welcome to stick around if you'd like, or I can hide you again. Okay, I can hide you. Okay, here, let's see if I can figure that out. Stop video. There we go. And all right, so here we are. We don't want to take too much of your time, but we do have quite a few questions that have come in. We'll try to get to as many as we can. If you would like to post any questions, you may do so either in the Q&A function or in the chat. And my goodness, look at all this stuff in the chat. I'm going to try to go through and see if we can get to as many as possible. Okay, so we got one question from Jackie Marks asking, will this webinar be recorded for folks who couldn't make it today? Yes, we do have a recording of this. This is being recorded right now. Anything I say, okay. So yes, it is available. We're going to make it available, and we will send a link out to that after this is all done. Bonnie Carroll would like to know, Daron, are you a permanent resident in the Czech Republic?
I am. I truly am. And anyone who wants to come and move over here after the trip, talk to me. I'll tell you the whole process. It's not that difficult. It's very nice, actually.
It is.
I recommend. I truly do.
All right, Dan Stein would like to know, are non-cantors welcome to join the tour? Yes, absolutely. This tour is designed for not only cantors, but for congregants, even non-congregational members, people just, regular people, good old-fashioned people are welcome to join this tour and benefit from all of the incredible musical experiences and the connections that we're creating for this trip. Okay, let's see. We talked about children. We talked about Omicron. We talked a little bit about refundable policy. How long is the bike ride? Linda Shivers would like to know how long the bike ride is. Daron, who has ridden this ride himself a couple of years ago, can talk about the quality of the ride and the length.
It's 100 kilometers, so around 60 something miles, depending who you ask. It's a very easy ride. It's Poland is a flat country, very much so. There's one incline the whole way. So all the 100 kilometers is one incline, and you're doing it with the community. So the year I did, I think we were 300 people riding, and you're riding 300 people leaving Auschwitz, going to the center of Judaism in Krakow. It's unbelievable. along the way there's stops, and you get food, and you get water, and you get
People
anything.
cheering for you.
Yes, you actually have the local. You go through the local little towns and along the way, and actually the locals go out of their houses and they cheer for you, it's like this. It's already a tradition, right? So in the past 2 years, I think Jonathan Ornstein, the CEO of the JCC Krakow, actually did it by himself, and you could see if you were on his live stream, which I did watch some of it. Guilty pleasure. So you could see a couple of the people who would go out every time to cheer the Ride for a Living actually went out to cheer only for Jonathan Ornstein, which is very nice. So yes, people do cheer for you as well.
So if you're interested in the ride, of course, when you register, there's a box to check off that you're interested in. As the information becomes available, we'll give you more info. There's an opportunity, as I said at the beginning, to raise funds on behalf of the Krakow JCC. So it's a very worthwhile thing to take part in. This is let's see, Helene Friedman shared that the Mi Poland mezuzahs are sold at the National Museum of American Jewish History in Philadelphia. And she owns one of those mezuzot. Thank you, Helene, for sharing that. Let's see. We talked about, side trips. We have a few questions here about pre and post tours. And that's absolutely something that is going on. We've got a couple of trips planned for those that would like to extend, one to Budapest and one to Berlin. Doron, you want to talk a little bit about those?
So you can go. We have a 2-day extension to Budapest and 4 days, including that weekend, over to Berlin. 2 amazing cities. Unquestionably, my vacation, my long weekends. That's where I go. It's a guided tour along, so you're going to have a guide with you. Hotels are included. You'll see the Jewish history. You'll see the non-Jewish history. And for those of you deciding to go to the Budapest extension, you will also be with Professor Burke, which is an added bonus. And beyond that, if you want to extend other directions, so you can come earlier and come to the first weekend of the Jewish Krakow Festival, and we can help you for that. And if anyone has genealogy, family history, something of the sort, so when you register, you're going to see I'm going to connect with you very quickly. Just send me back an email and we'll start connecting to the genealogist, getting your trip aligned to make sure that you can find out all the history relevant to you.
Beautiful. All right, Dan Stein writes that Cantor Schur used to be our cantor in Falls Church. She officiated the naming of my daughter. So Tracy of an old congregant watching right now. Let's see. Betsy Minkin would like to know what sort of special activities we have planned for Shabbat. Since I'm not looking at the itinerary right in front of me, Doron, I'm going to throw it at you.
So Shabbat, we're going to be in Krakow. So we're going to be in Krakow during the Jewish Krakow Festival. We're actually going to be doing Havdalah as part of the Jewish Krakow Festival, a big concert. And the Friday night dinner is going to be with the JCC Krakow, with the Ride for a Living, and with anyone who joins from the festival, which is the biggest Shabbat dinner in Krakow since the Holocaust, which is an amazing experience to be at, just to think about what has been rebuilt here. Well, there, I'm not in Krakow.
Beautiful. All right. So several questions about pre and post, a couple questions, actually one about food, which I think it was an incomplete question, but it said, is there food on the trip? Which,
there is.
Yes. I don't know if we're supposed to, is there kosher food on the trip or is there food, but there's definitely food. Yeah.
If you need kosher food, contact me, and it is possible to have kosher food in all of the places that we're going to. There's very strong Jewish communities in all 3 of the main cities, but it's not included in the trip exactly. So contact me and we can help you organize it.
Okay. All right.
Facilitate it.
Facilitate. Yeah. Okay. Lynn Turry would like to know where the trip begins and ends. The trip begins in Warsaw. So it goes Warsaw, 2 nights Warsaw, 4 nights Krakow, and then 3 nights in Prague. So Warsaw, then Krakow, then Prague. And that answers Nadia, that answers your question about how many nights in each place. And in terms of level of hotel, we didn't talk at all about the hotel. We are offering, well, Doron, you want to talk about hotels at all?
Sure. We have 2 levels of hotels. So we have a deluxe and a deluxe plus. The deluxe plus is equal to the 5-star, and the deluxe is equal to a 4-star in the US. And yeah, that's about it. They're very nice hotels. They show the vibe of the cities itself. So it's actually quite interesting when you stay in the hotel. It very much fits how the city feels when you're outside.
Nice. Okay. A couple other food related question. Linda Shivers writes, is it possible to be vegetarian and Shomrei Shabbat? Which I guess you could be either one of those things or both of those things. And yes, it is possible. One thing I will say, I found a really nice resource called Happy Cow, happycow.net, that gives you Google Maps enabled locations for vegan and vegetarian restaurants in cities that you travel to. Found it very useful when I'm in Europe. So I'm not sure if you wanted to add anything to that.
These are modern cities. These cities, many people that I've talked to in the past couple of weeks over this trip have been saying, we were in Poland, we were in Prague 20 years ago. So the cities have left the former Soviet Union, and they are now definitely what we could call Central Europe. They have modernized. So yes, vegetarian, vegan, every kind of thing that you would expect to have in a city in the US, you will find it here.
Okay. All right. So Betsy Minkin would like to know, how do I get the discount that we had offered for attending this program? Well, we're going to be sending an email out to everybody that attended the program afterwards. It's going to have the code in that. I suppose I can't remember what the code is offhand, but Doron, if you remember, we could say what it is out loud, but we are going to email to all of you so you have that code to use.
Offhand. No, I don't remember.
If you can look while I'm doing the next couple of questions, see if you can find it. Okay. Naomi Hirsch would like to know about accessibility for those in wheelchairs or who might have other accessibility issues. Do you want to take that, or you want me to take that?
So Europe is becoming more accessible along the way. That being said, a lot of these cities are cobblestone, and they're older cobblestone. And Europe is a lot. It's not a lot of walking, but there's substantial walking. So do get ready for walking. If you do need to have wheelchair accessibility, please contact me. Okay, my email is doron@ayelet.com, or you can contact anyone at Ayelet, and they'll get you to me, and we can discuss throughout the itinerary where it will be needed. In general, most of the places are wheelchair accessible.
Okay. All right. A couple of the questions that there some that are kind of a little overlapping with what we've talked about before. Helene Friedman asked, will there be an opportunity to visit ancestral villages? Doron spoke about that. We're certainly able to help people out if you'd like to go off route, either before or after, or even, I suppose, during, if you wanted to miss some of the touring, but I wouldn't encourage that, to visit your routes. So we can definitely help with that. Elaine Riskin asks if the food is kosher. The food that we are serving on the trip is not kosher. There is breakfast included each day, of course, with your hotel stay. That breakfast is a beautiful spread, so there's lots to choose from. I believe there's 3 dinners, including Shabbat dinner, and 3 lunches that are included as part of the package. Places where there's not a meal included will, of course, help you out with options, where to go, what to eat, so we can help people out with that. Lords Blanco asks, will there be free time for personal interests? So the answer is there's a lot to do, there's a lot to see, and we don't always have time to put in free time. That said, there are certain evenings that are on your own, and if you chose to do so, it is possible to go, quote unquote, off route. So if you wanted to take a little time, as long as we know that you're not going to be with the group, so we're not looking for you, let your guide know. It is possible to take time on your own if you wanted to go and do something different.
The promo code is ACC Jan 75.
You can put that in the chat as well.
Yes, I will.
Put that in the chat.
And I will send an email to everyone.
Okay. Okay. And during the registration process, essentially, once you make your selections on the first page and you kind of continue, you'll see like a little box at the bottom of the screen where you enter that promo code and apply it to your booking. Okay, Judith Tischler, what are the entry and exit airports? As we said, we're going into Warsaw out of Prague. And yes, it is possible to meet the group there. In terms of group flights, do we have that up on the website yet?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
We do. We have out of New York.
Okay, so we've got group flights out of New York. You can find the information on the website. Probably wouldn't hurt to put the website link back in the chat as well. As we
already did.
All right, perfect. As we start to get closer to the bottom of the questions. Oh, Elizabeth Katzman would like to know how many people can fit in a room. Well, it depends. Are we talking about a hotel room? Assuming we're talking about a hotel room, generally it's going to be 2. It is possible to do triple at some hotels, meaning 3 people in a room. 3 adults in a room in Europe is really not recommended. The rooms tend to be on the smaller size. It's generally not recommended, but if you have a particular situation, oh, you do, because you're asking because you've got kids. That's what I was going to say. If you've got a particular situation where we're talking about kids, let us know and we can let you know exactly how that would be taken care of, but it is possible to do. Somebody asked about which meals are included in the trip price. We talked about that. If there are singles, let's see if there are, Rachel Roth, hey Rachel, is asking if there's singles looking to be matched for roommates. Is that possible? And the answer is yes. If you are a single and you would like to be matched with a roommate, we are happy to do that. We can certainly assist and put you in touch. We don't do roommate matching, which means we're not going to just put you in a room with somebody else that you are not familiar with, but we will put you in touch with somebody that would hopefully be a good fit. And if you choose to share a room, you save the single supplement, which is a good thing. Okay, so somebody asked about extending to Israel. Betsy Minkin, yes, if you'd like to extend to Israel, we are, of course, very familiar with travel to Israel and can help you to do so. Just let us know. We can do that. How many people, let's see, Amy Goldman would like to know how many people are on a bus. The bus sizes in Europe, it's similar to what you'd find in the US or in Israel. So it is possible to fit 40 people on a bus. We're aiming for somewhere between 30 to 35 per bus in how we're putting this together. But of course, it doesn't always shake down. If we got 2 congregations that have groups that we want to put together, well, you kind of figure out how everything fits together. But depending on the final group size and how it all divides, that's roughly the size. So, okay. Whew, that was like the speed round. That was like the lightning question round. I think I've got to pretty much everything. People are asking about how much is the single supplement for Berlin. I would say all of the information for pricing for the pre-post and the tour is available on the website. I encourage people to go take a look at everything that's there. If you have questions afterwards, of course, please let us know. Daron's email address, did you put it in the chat yet?
Oh,
is
no.
Daron@ayelet.com, DORON@AYELET.com. It's in the chat now, and you can send Daron any questions you have.
Or just say hi. I like emails.
Hi. Life, future, love, whatever you'd like to ask Daron, he can answer all questions.
How is it to live in Prague? Whatever you want. How to get a visa? I'm here for you.
For sure. All right. So if there are no further questions coming in, I think we have reached the end of this one. I will put in one plug for something else we do. Hopefully many of you are familiar. We do virtual programs. We do have another virtual program that starts this Tuesday with Professor Stephen Burke talking about Jews in the Muslim world. So it should be very interesting. You can find all the information about that at our website, ayelet.com. And of course, we encourage you to join us. It's a great way for people to get together and learn more about the Jewish world, even if they're not traveling at this particular time. So in conclusion, actually, before I say my last remarks, Daron, anything that you'd like to add that I might have skipped or missed or kind of brushed over as we take a look at this trip?
Come over here. I miss you all.
And we miss you. So I hope you will consider joining us and being a part of what will be a unique and extremely impactful, and memorable trip. We hope to see you this summer. We're here to answer any questions that you have to help you make that decision. Thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you to Cantor Tracy Schur and Cantor David Rosen for sharing about the musical vision and for dedicating their time and energy to making this trip a success. We are really looking forward to it. And so to all of you, shalom. Shalom, it's Jeff from Ayala Tours. Hope you enjoyed that video. Remember to catch all of our creative content by subscribing to our YouTube channel.